The Motion Monitor Fine Motor Skill Assessment Program, or FMSAP, is an icon-driven software package created to assess the quality of hand movement. The program consists of sensors that capture the movement of the hands, a computer, and software to process and evaluate the data. The program can also include an optional camera to record digital video that will play back synchronously with the activity data. The program is started by clicking the FMSAP icon on the desktop. You can log in as the existing user or create your own. The software is completely icon-driven. The first icon, the information icon, outlines the process of activating, collecting, and evaluating data. Before beginning, ensure that the Patriot's USB cable is connected to the computer, the sensors and transmitter are plugged into the appropriate ports, and the power is turned on. The transmitter should be positioned in front of the workspace with the cable away from the subject. The sensors can now be activated by clicking on the lightning bolt icon. When activated, the graphs will begin to display the sensor data. The sensor coordinate axes will also be displayed in the animation window. At this point, the user should verify that the sensors move as expected. The sensor assignment dialog can be used to ensure that the correct sensor is assigned to each hand. If only tracking one hand, place a 0 in the dialog for the untracked hand. At this point, the record button has turned red, indicating that FMSAP is ready to record your activity. Recording can be stopped by pressing the Stop button or by pressing the button on the event marker. You can also simply cancel the recording by clicking on the X. When the recording is complete, it will appear in its own activity window. Note that 2 new icons have been activated. Let's look at each of them. The first of the new icons provides greater insight into the raw data that was collected. In addition to the X, Y, and Z movement of each hand, there are now graphs to display both the velocity and acceleration of each hand. Below it, a graph showing a pulse when each velocity curve has registered a peak is shown. Finally, there is a graph which identifies which of the peaks represents an intended movement. This is based on the velocity threshold that has been established. The second, or assessment icon, provides an overview of the session. The stats window identifies the total distance traveled by each hand, the number of intended movements, and the average amplitude of each movement. It also includes the average number of movements per second. These data are also displayed graphically so they can be observed throughout the playback of the session. The last icon, the filtering icon, can be used to modify the default settings for the Butterworth cutoff frequency used in smoothing the data, and the velocity threshold necessary to consider a peak velocity and intended movement. The icons in the bottom row can be used to resave the activity. The Help About icon identifies the version of software used in the collection. Let's close the activity and return to the main program to consider 2 icons not discussed earlier. The wrench icon will let you modify the recording parameters. The recording period is the total length of time that can be recorded in a session. The default setting is to trigger a stop with the handheld event marker. The stop recording icon can also be used. When triggered, collection will continue for the length of delay period before stopping. At that point, the software will look backward for the recording period and save that data. A delay of 0 will stop the recording immediately upon pressing the button. A delay of 20 in this case will result in recording to continue for 20 seconds before stopping. The Autosave Autoname checkbox can be used to do continuous recordings. Each file will be given the base file name with the numerical extension. Finally, All data can be exported using the Export Data icon. When pressed, you will be asked to browse to the activity that is to be exported. During the export, you will see a progress dialog followed by a notification that export has been completed. The export file can be found in the Users folder that contains data unique to that user. Here you can see the file that was just created. The file is a flat ASCII file and can be easily read into Excel, MATLAB, or other third-party software for further processing. That's the basics. If you have questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@insport.com or by phone at 773-244-6470.